Hey friends, sorry, I was facing some issue. The YouTube going live option, it was showing some error actually. I don't know what is that. So yes, it is rectified now. So yes, we can start. Okay, so I will be responding some answers to the questions being posted last week, and I am going to today discuss about the difference between the user story and task. This is an important, question that may be asked during your interviews as well, and it comes with very basic difference. If I talk about the fundamental of difference, it is very clear. User stories should be created by the product owner or the business analyst, whereas the task is to be created by the development team and the QA team. Okay, so this is a very basic difference. If somebody asks you what is the user story and task difference, so this is very simple. I mean, in terms of the role, who creates what. So business analyst, product owner creates the user story, whereas the development team, QA team, they create the task. Okay, that I hope it's clear. Okay. The next major difference talk about uh, you know the technical part of that. This is the who does, I mean, role perspective. Now technical difference. So user story, basically, you everybody knows. I think I have created a separate video also, but yes, let me reiterate so that people who didn't watch that video, they can at least go through now. And user story define the smallest piece of the work belongs to a particular functionality. So it is having a universal format from the skilled agile or the agile incorporation. It is like as a user, I want to perform this action so that I can do this, and then the benefit. So uh, you will define a role, what he is supposed to do the action, and then benefit. This is the universal format of the user story. So whenever is you've been asked to create the user story, never hesitate. Start with the format I told you, and then slowly, definitely, when you do more practice and all that, you will be perfect in that area also. Okay. Now, user story, epic is there, and then you can create a couple of 10, 20. Nobody can say like, oh no, it should be only 10 user story within one epic. No, it's wrong. It could be any number of user stories, but yes, it could not be 100 also. If you think like epic, see, you need to correlate as well. Epic cannot be falling beyond a couple of sprints. Epic can be delivered in 3 4 sprints max, 3 4 5 sprints max. It cannot be stay the whole year. Okay, so sprints, if you talk about 2 weeks of time, if you're having a 4 developers, it means eight story points, and then 40 story points you can accommodate in one sprint. So like that, 40 into 5, 200 story points. So one story you can create of 5 story points or 8 max, okay, within one sprint. So that you can, so how many can be accommodated into the max? I'm thinking, okay, it's 5 into 5, 5 divide 20, 200 divided by 5, how much? 40, right? So 40 stories I can see, user stories I can see max. Definitely it could be less as well, because generally people, how the client want to see these stories, epics to be delivered in a couple of sprints rather than waiting for a longer time. So for 3 4 sprints you should be able to deliver your epic. Okay, so now you know that the relation between the epic and user story, you know the format of the user story. Okay, and you have a basic fundamental difference from the role. Like a BAPO creates the user story, whereas the task created by the developer and the QA. Now I will jump on the task. AG Fact, hi, thanks for joining. Replacement TD. Okay, I will come on that. Okay, please bear with me. Okay, so task. Task something is a very minute, very granular level of a particular user story. So when you have defined a functionality, like a user should be able to log in with his username and passwords. Could be one of the user story. So task, what should be the task? The task could be your designing of a login page. Okay, if it is not the any other IDP services login page, if you're not redirecting your login or sign up to the any other IDP services page. Okay, if you're designing your own login page, so yes, that's the UI you have to design. So username, password, forget password, or a reset password. Okay, and then signing button or sign up button, that those all things you have to design in the wireframe. So one task will be the designing the wireframe. That will be the one task. And the task, it could be like validating the username and password with the IDP service. It could be Azure, it could be Amazon, it could be any other Okta, any other Active Directory or Federation services. Any other Active Directory who can be serve as you authentication of the user log credentials. So that one thing. Second, third user story will be there. Validations, QA, testing. Okay, they can create a testing task, writing the test cases, and then validation of the test cases. Unit testing is one of the test case which a developer will be doing that. Okay, so it could be 5 to 10 tasks can reside into one user story. Okay, I will also today, kind of a bonus, I will explain you the difference between the enabler user story and spike user story. Okay, most of the people might be knowing that, but let me just explain for the people who don't know. Okay, so this is also very important, in interviews. So when they ask what is the difference between a functional user story and spike user story and enabler user story. Okay, this is very important, guys. Okay, I will explain you. Okay, so task is clear, right? Task is the child or granular level of your user story, the smallest piece of work that developer can or QA can perform on a day. Task is something, should be broken down into a daily perspective, so that if I pick up a task today, I should be able to complete. Task is going multiple days is not a good task. You should be completing that way. Okay, so 1 or 2 days is fine, but it should not be more than that. Okay, so when you complete all the task, the user story also will be completed. So you having 8 story points here, user story level, and task will be like, suppose you have created 5 tasks. So two story point. One is, I mean, you don't need to assign any story point to the task, but you have to give that burn down. You have to put the how much hours you have spent on that particular task. So suppose 8 story points means approximate 8 hours, uh, not 8 hours. So five means 1 week. Eight story points means approximate 10 days. Okay, so 5 days, 10 days. 5 days means 5 story points means 5 days of work. I mean, each day 8 hours, and then 40. Okay, you can consider. Generally, in Agile Scrum, basically we say only 6 hours. But in service-based organizations, we sometimes consider 8 hours per day also. Okay, so assume that five story points represents the 5 days, 5 days of work by the development team. And then if it is 8 story points, it is spanned from 8 days to 10 days also. Okay, but user story cannot be more than 8 story points. Okay, within one sprint. Okay, so when you have that 5 day, five story point for a story, and then you have that estimation if it's a 5 days, your task should be aligned to that. So if you created 5 tasks under this user story, each task should be completing within the 5 days. So every end of the day, by he is supposed to take log off for the day developer, he should be logging that how much hours he spent on the particular task under that story. So when you, so total story level 5 days, right? So task one completed. He said, I have spent 6 hours. Another task is spent 1 day. Another task is spent 1 day again. Okay, so 2 days 8 hours. Oh, 2 days 6 hours. So overall, it should not be increasing the 5 days. 5 day should not increase. Otherwise, your burn down chart will not be correct. It is mean you have lower estimated your user story. It's a, so that can be caught in the sprint retro. So you mean you are taking more time completing your task to this story. It means you are not estimated well this is user story, or vice versa. If you are completing within less hours the user story, but you have given a higher story points, okay, it means you are overestimating. In both way, you in the sprint retro you can be basically you can find out, and next time onwards it should be very clean and clear, very perfect estimations you have to give. Okay. Saurabh, hi, thanks for joining. I mean, good morning. Can you please tell me what topics and the skills should be known to land BA job? Okay. Subi Malik, hi Aman bhai. Congratulations for the 1K sir. Thank you, thank you, thank you. ऑन आवर्स की वीडियोस पे 10 मिनट्स का वीडियो आएंगे. ये तो इनका काम है भाई. सी यूट्यूब लाइक दे विल बी गिविंग डिफरेंट एड्स. आई डोंट नो. या they have a different agenda for making the money, you know. So they will be pouring a lot of ads every video. Whichever is going trending, they will definitely put the ads. Yeah, it's their money, right? They're giving facility of this communication and all. A lot of engineering work required, right? So okay, but thank you, Subi. Thank you very much. Uh, okay, what I was telling. Okay, so US story task clear, guys. I think okay. I was about to tell you what is the enabler user story. What is the spike, guys? Please be focused. This is the kind of interview kind of questions it will be asked. Okay, if you really, I would be in the place. I will definitely ask. Okay, if I am interviewing, I basically ask these questions. Okay, see. Functional user story means you have clear understanding what you have to do. Okay, I'm typing also here. Functional, okay, functional user story, spike user story, and and enabler user story. Okay, so story. Okay, so this is very important, you know, guys. Okay, let me tell you one thing. Functional user story means the developer, the QA, everybody in that your team, the scrum team, the typical scrum team, they have the clarity what they have to do. That way directly we can create a functional user story. The we in a generic word we call normal user story. Don't differentiate with anybody else. Okay, it's just user story. Okay, but if your requirement is a little kind of a complex, and your developer need to spend some time to explore, do some R&D and learning process before starting a real user story, there you create a spike user story. Okay, I don't know how it will be more interactive if you people can talk to me. Seriously, I'm trying to find out that option. Yeah, seriously, we can interact each other that way. Seriously, okay. So spike user story means it's not the actual productive. They will be doing any coding and all that. It will be a kind of a learning for them, exploration on something, and then they will be make themselves ready to pick up a real user story. Please put thumbs up in your comments, guys, if you understand this spike user story. Before jumping to the enabler one, if you have any question, I can talk more on that. Okay, only 5 people here. It's okay. If you can, at least you people can type. Okay, now it means you're good. Now, enabler user story. Enabler user story means you you don't know everything about that user story, real user story, but you have some clarity. But before putting your coding efforts, before actual implementation, you want to do some kind of a R&D, some kind of a POC. So if you want to do some kind of POC, your thought process is correct or not before starting the real code. Basically, you need to create a enabler user story. That way, whatever the piece of a code you will write, or you will write an API, that should be reusable during your primary or main user story. So the effort goes into the Spike user story. It's not reusable because there you will not write any code, not you will not write any logic. But enabler user story, it's something where you will write some kind of a code, you will write some kind of a logic that you should be able to reuse into your main user story. इससे बेटर कोई नहीं समझा पाएगा भाई, ठीक है ना, मैं बता रहा हूँ आपको. तो ये हमारे डिफरेंस हो गए गाइस, ठीक है ना, मेन, इनेबलर एंड स्पाइक. ओके, so as a business analyst or product owner, if you see the team wants some such kind of requirements, they are having such kind of clarity requirement, you can create a spike and enable this user story for them. Okay, so before jumping to the main one, they will explore and spend some time into these kind of things. Okay. Okay, GFACT, TBD, to be done. TBD means to be done, right? We usually do that. Okay. Can you please explain TBD and BDD? You see, oh, okay, TBD and BDD, yeah, okay. Okay. BDD stands for behavioral driven development. Given, when, then. Okay. So given, when, then, it's another format in the scaled agile. You know, in the scaled agile, they give this format to write your acceptance criteria. Okay. So in your non-skilled agile projects also, essential safe model, normal agile scrum process, also you can do that process, so it's not like only when the scaled agile process only you have to accommodate that. Okay, so you can do that in any kind of, you basically it's a kind of adoption. You have to, if you are so expert in that one, you can make that happen, and you can make your team to adopt that process. Okay, you have to start from there. So BDD is very simple. Okay. What is the TBD? TBD is a test behavior development. I don't know what is that. Let me just see that. TBD. What is that? It is in the TBD scale agile. I think something will be there, right? TBD scale design. TBD. Trunk based development. I don't know what is this one here. The scale design framework is set to organize and flow pattern guide skill design and along with display design. Well, I'm not sure. TBD. I work on the BDD. Uh, okay, okay. It's actually TDD. Okay, TDD is a technical document. So technical design document. Okay, in that you create the your class object diagrams, your architecture diagram. Okay, any APIs, the sample APIs you have to present. Okay, where you are going to host your software, these diagrams, the whole flow you have to present. So it's a pure technical document that is prepared by the architecture, not by the business analyst. Okay, so a test driven development. Okay, okay. Is a TDD is again it's one of the document prepared by the architecture. So it's a test driven development is nothing but it's a it's again kind of a method used by the your testing team. So in their test case designing, they give some sample data also along with the test case writing itself. They give that test data so that when they perform or when they uh, execute the automation, they will be having the sample data enabled, so it will easily pick up that information and execute that sample. So they themselves initially define that what is my test parameters, what are the values I need to feed into this test case to execute this test case, and what is the expected outcome also. Everything is defined in the TDD approach. Okay, so it is it is a testing team has to come up, but if it is not coming up, basically business analyst also can provide this information. Okay, but it will be overwork, for the business analyst. Okay, he cannot write the user story, he cannot write the BDD approach also, where he is already giving you given when then approach. Okay, it's just a matter of the visualization of a testing data along with that approach. Okay, what should be the minimum set of the data input data test data required to execute this test scenario, and what should be the output expected output of this test scenario, that should be given by the testing team, I believe. Okay, if it is on the BA, it will be too overwork, it's too much work. Okay. Okay, I think it's clear, guys. Okay, so don't it's very simple. The difference between the BDD and TDD is very simple. It's a writing pattern of your acceptance criteria, where you will be helping your testing team to visualize your requirement very much clearly, so they don't need to put their brains. They just need to copy the scenario from your acceptance criteria, and then they just need to copy paste simply in their test cases. Okay, we are just giving a spoon feeding. It will be spoon feeding. If you only defining the test scenarios along with the test data, what they will be doing, only the performing the test cases, you can also do, right? Spend another half an hour in everything you will be doing, right? It will be too much work actually for the business analysis if it is been asked you to create. Okay, too much work, unnecessary. Okay, BDD also is too much lengthy. See, if I'm writing acceptance criteria, application should execute this scenario. It should be able to do this one. Application should be able to save my transaction detail into this corresponding table. Application should be pull the data from this system. So this is my generic acceptance criteria. But given when, then also it is a very very lengthy process. Writing one story will be taken half an hour approximate. Given when then scenario. Given when this API get API is developed, when that system is available, the API which you are going to interact with the system is available along with these parameters. Even when then API should pull this data from that integrated system and store this data into this table name. So you have to basically giving everything in your acceptance criteria. It's too lengthy process, guys. Okay, yeah, until unless it is not been asked your organization, I don't know. If you're having too much work, don't go on the BDD approach. It's a lengthy process, time taking process. And if you have time, there is no much burden. You have to just create 5 stories for a particular sprint, the upcoming sprint, 5 6 stories. Yes, you can do. You have a 2 weeks of time, right? Within a 2 3 days, you can create a backlog for the next sprint. It's fine. Then in that case, fine. Okay. Okay. Saurabh, thanks for joining. Could you please tell me what topics and what skills should be known with landed a BA job? Okay, Saurabh, you have to learn clearly all the BA skill sets. Okay, go through all the videos which I have created from day one. You will be able to, build your basic concepts, skills that required for a beginner of the any business analyst role. Okay, and if you go through all the videos and seriously put your efforts to learning, do some home practice and all that, you will be in the advanced level by that itself. Okay, no doubt in that. Okay, and I'm coming alive these kind of sessions, right? If you have any doubt, definitely we can discuss. Okay. IT, good morning. Thank you. What is that question? Test event development. Okay. How much days does a company give to write a BR? Is it basically it's a 20% of time. If it is the 1 year of project, 2 months should be given for approximate to a BA for writing these documentation. If it is giving less than time, it's a very bad. It's a very bad practice. You cannot create a quality document if it's not given a 20% of time to a total project. If you're developing one module, it is going to end up in 3 months. It means you require only 2 weeks of time, right? Right. It means it's a very small functionality, right? But if it is a full system, you have to capture into a BRD full system, which is going to span 1.5 year, 2 to 3 months. They have to give you. In these 2 to 3 months, you will be interacting with the client, you will be understanding the requirements, you will be writing the requirements, you are putting some analysis thought process also, and then you are going back to validate and approve. This all process requires some time. It cannot be done in 15 or 20 days for sure. So 2 to 3 months, 20%. This is you can have that fact. 20% of total timeline you should be given for a BRD and FRD and all that. Okay. Please tell us a story mapping. I think I last time also I answered here. A story mapping with what here? Use story mapping to a user. Use story mapping to another user story. What exactly? Please, Whitey, please can you throw some light in that? I can explain you better. Okay. User story mapping to another user story as a dependency or a successor or predecessor, or it's just assigning it to a particular user. Please tell me what is that. Okay. GFACT, how to handle sensitive requirements and non-sensitive requirements in agile project management. See, everything is sensitive only. First of all, you need to define what it mean by sensitive here. Okay. See, client data is all sensitive every time. Client data you cannot discuss openly during your transportation, during your computers, you are going through bus or you're sharing your cab. You should not disclose, you should not discuss. Even you should not discuss the project related content matter, issues, challenges, any kind of discussions in a public area within your office or outside office also. Okay. So within your team uh, area where the cubicle where you sit, you should be basically talking these things. Okay. So everything is sensitive. Okay. Any data, anything you are creating, it should be created or captured within the authorized tool which is approved by the client. It's a Jira or Riley, no other than that. No other than that place. Like you will be creating a FRD, FSD also, that should be uploaded to a designated SharePoint or something. You cannot hold that document with you personally. Okay. You cannot share with any other team within your organization also. It should not be actually. If it is within your organization for some references, definitely you can put that disclaimer. It should not be given to any other. It should be your personal reference, and do not uh, share with anybody else. Okay. Okay. YT, I got your point. Okay. I'm coming on that. Okay. Okay, so I think yes, everything is sensitive, guys. Okay, client data is very sensitive. Okay, and that's why when we develop I mean, you write the code also, you will be having a table of logs and security logs. So security logs is very important. So when you write your requirements, you should become conveying to your development team like, boss, you have to develop the security logs. So security logs represents like what security logs means. Uh, when a user is taking login to perform any transactions, it should be recorded into the particular table, that is the security log. So whenever the company data is being audited, they should be having that information: who has done this transaction, who has created this transaction, who has edited this information, who has deleted that information, Any CRUD operation should be logged in the backend. That's called security logs, along with the user ID, date, and time stamp. Okay, so you should be conveying that information to your engineering team so that they will, when they will design the database table, they should be having that objective of creating that security log also. Okay, YT, user story mapping. Okay, so if I know, oh, I will take the example of the function user story, spike user story, and enabler user story. I will try to explain in that factor so you will understand. You will correlate. Okay, so spike user story, enabler user story, and at the end, it's a real user story. You created all these three. You created all these three stories, but you know and your team knows they cannot pick up this third one, the main user story, without handling the without working on the spike user story. Because to work on the main user story, they have to first gain some knowledge, explore some content, gain some knowledge. They are, it's a new for them, so they don't know, they cannot really jump on implementing the main user story. So they will pick up the first spike user story, and your main user story will be having a dependency of this spike. Until that spike user story is not completed, marked, or done, developer cannot pick up this main user story. That's the preceded mapping, dependency mapping. Similar, enabler. Enabler is something when you gain the knowledge, you will do some actual coding. Actual coding means you will be doing some sample test, sample coding. You will prove what you understand in terms of POC, proof of concept. Okay, that is again not actual work, but you are just trying to see whether your understanding is correct or not. You will be able to implement this feature or not. Okay, so enabler story will be having a dependency with the spike one. So you cannot pick up this enabler user story without completing this spike one. So what is the hierarchy? Enabler will be having a dependency with spike, but your main user story will be having a dependency with two user story, the spike and enabler both. That way you can see, visualize, and you can keep on marking the dependency with the other user story if it is really have to done before picking up the main user story. Okay, YT, I hope I tried to answer. Okay, GFACT. Okay, I think that's done. Shekhar, hi, thanks for joining. How BDD and TDD help business analysis? Given the answer, I don't know you joined that time or not, Rajshekhar. BDD, behavior driven development, test TDD is testing driven development. I think is having a very basic info difference is TDD will not have the test. BDD will not be having a test data, but TDD will be having the sample test data also along with the test scenario. Okay, TDD business analyst should not be created, but BDD should be created by the business analyst if it is been asked. Okay, so it not be helpful for the business analyst, but it will be helpful for your team. It for your engineering team and testing team. If you write your acceptance criteria in the BDD or TDD format, they can just copy paste. They can visualize more. Uh, I mean, this is spoon feeding, guys. I'm telling you. Okay, you will be for a developer. They will be able to write perform the unit testing based on this BDD and TDD very effectively. If you provide really unit testing, and TDD will be helpful for their testing team to visualize their test cases and test case executions. Again, a spoon feeding. Okay, but I am totally against of that. They should not totally depend on the input given by the business analyst. That's why they have their own. Unit testing is not something a business analyst mindset you have to test. You have to have your own scenarios in your mind. Okay, so until so one brain respect to three brains. Business analyst will write the acceptance criteria based on his visualization. Okay, whereas unit testing performed by the developer, he is having his own brain. He can have his own scenarios which you might not able to think. He can think because he is a developer, he's a coder. He might know technical things more than you. That's why it's important. It should be independent, and they should be able to write their own unit test cases and then execute. Okay, now third point, another important point, the QA. They also having a large experience into validating the corner cases, this some kind of non-functional non kind of exceptional cases which you cannot visualize might be. So that's why all three brains, BA, developer, QA, all together, when it's go independently, scenarios will be more vast, more dynamic, and your system will be more accurate. You will be developing a very perfect system. Okay, Rajshekhar, I think I tried to answer your question. Mukesh, hi Mukesh. Please give me some guidance on how to analyze and write user stories and acceptance criteria properly. Hey, I have a separate, very dedicated video for that, Mukesh. Please go through with that. Okay, I have that. I don't know if I can pass you that that URL, but please go to that. It is already there. It's already there. Please go through that user story. Okay, so let me just figure it out, more questions which have been asked in the past. Okay, uh, okay, the comments, let me see. Okay, okay. I think blissful. I think they have also asked the same kind of a question. Agile method. Do we still need to create BRD, FRD, and just no, guys? But I told you many times. It depends on the project to project. Even the Agile Scrum process, you will be asked to create the BRD, FRD based on the client requirements. So, as a business analyst, should not say like, no, it's a Agile Scrum. I don't know how to create a BRD and all. That's why core concept has to be built up. Okay, please have that all skills with you. Whenever it is needed, you should be able to do that, perform that. Okay, okay. And another question is the generalization error. Okay, somebody asked actually this question, Oracle, I don't know, from India or somewhere else, but yes, he asked the generalization arrow. He challenged basically. So I have responded him. He didn't come back. So let's see if he's come back again. But guys, user story generalization means two types of generalization. Let me again explain you. It's very important. It might be asked in the interview also. Okay, the generalization in the user story represents two things: actor to actor generalization and Eclipse. We having Eclipse, na, use case generalization. This is called the use case generalization, actor generalization. Actor generalization means the actor one is doing whatever the functionality, he is having access to whatever the use cases. The actor two, if it is having a different use cases access, but if you establish one arrow from actor 2 to actor 1, so whatever the actor 1 is able to do, the use cases, this actor 2 also should be able to do. It's a kind of inheritance. It means you are telling to the system, the user role 1, whatever he is doing, role 2 also can do. So you don't need to create a separate line association to those Eclipse. Okay, so that I think also I have explained in that use case diagram video. Please guys go through that. Okay. Hey GFAT, can you please explain the scenario if the client is in Europe and he told the requirement in ABC, but my dev in a QA has done in the CBA? Interesting, guys. What is this question? Can you please explain this scenario? Okay, if the client is in Europe and he told requirement in ABC, he told in requirement in ABC. ABC is a language or ABC is just a requirement. But my dev and QA has done it in CBA. CBA, that's what it's, what is that? It's a language or requirement? I mean, they understood the requirement wrong, are you saying, or it's a language difference? Then how can I manage the things when the project is almost completed? Uh, a requirement. Okay, okay, requirement. Okay, okay, okay. No, so it should not be. No, no, no. The fact. No, no, no. You cannot allow. You cannot allow as a business. This is the core ethic of bringing business analyst, product owner in the agile scrum process. That was the failure of the stream programming. So this is another very important interview question, guys. What is the why is the failure of what is the reason for failure of the stream programming? You know the stream programming, XP, Agile XP. You know, right? One of big four asked this question. Okay, yeah, I will tell you. Okay, so this is the failure of the Agile XP process, stream programming, where there is no uh, solo responsible in the team who can take ownership on the requirement. It was the development team only who interacts with the client and do whatever they understand. So there is no BA and PO. So nobody take the ownership. So development, one of the developer interact with the client, they understood something and then delivered something. Where the client was asking ABC and he has done CBA. Who is there to validate that? No one's there. That's why it's a failure of XP and bringing this new model of Agile Scrum where they introduce a role of a BA. So BA has to ensure what is the client ask, and end of the delivery he should be make sure it is the ask exact ask being delivered to the client, not what the developer is understood. No, if developer understood wrong in your before it is sprint demo, you will be highlighting, you will be picking up that and you will be throwing back that user story. No, team or a particular developer, no boss, you have done wrong, this is what not the expectations, please go through the acceptance criteria very carefully. Ultimately we have to stop this all by setting up some kind of a prior grooming sessions with the team so that you will bring them to the level you have the understanding on the requirement. You will be having a understanding of overall project in your mind every time, but developers should be having some part of that overall project level, but 100% on the stories which they are going to pick up in the next sprint. You have to make sure. How you will make sure? You have to groom those stories, you have to explain them nicely, you have to answer all those questions. If they are not asking the question, you will start asking question to them what you have understood. Sometimes team doesn't focus, you need to bring their attention in your discussion. It's a BA responsibility, and you can pass slowly this thing to scrum team, scrum master will bring them on the board and make sure they are putting their attention on the meeting. Okay, so basically you should not allow these things to happen. ABC and CBA is delivered, no, it's incorrect. Although second point is, if it is happening, you are the first place to block that kind of delivery which is not expected, which is not matching to the original requirement, and then you have to revert back, boss, is something wrong, please go and do recode. It's not matching to the requirement. Okay. Okay, guys, I think for today's good. Let's meet next time, next Sunday. Any more questions and all, I will ask. I think I tried to answer everything. Let me see. Taking requirement. One Arjun. I don't know you joined or not. If we can discuss the full project or key development like creating use cases, taking requirement, creating user stories. He's asked overall project. Actually, you should be able to, yeah. No, if you go through the videos, I'm sure you will be able to understand everything, guys. I will request you guys, please go through the videos. Okay, the case study. I have shared the case study also. Please go through that case study. see how that I've created the FRD BRD document out of that, how that user story has been broken down, how the wireframes has been created, how the UML diagram have been created. Okay, so this is all very nice information. Please do some practice at home, guys. Adora. Okay, and then you ping me your questions. I will reply immediately. And if you require this kind of explanation, I will definitely help you in the coming Sunday. Okay. Thanks, Rajshekhar. Thank you very much. Uh, can you make a WhatsApp group? Let's see. Let's see. Okay. Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Keep learning, keep growing. Okay. Thank you very much.